The top of the world is not a place. It is a habit. Open a classroom map, a weather app, an atlas, a globe, or a navigation screen, and the planet quietly performs the same trick. Canada floats above the United States. Europe sits above Africa. Russia stretches across the roof of Earth. But why? Earth is a ball in space. It has no ceiling, no floor, no tiny label on the Arctic saying, "This end up." So why did so many people learn to see north as the obvious top? And here is the weird part. For much of history, they did not. If someone hands you a world map with south at the top, your brain may reject it instantly. Australia suddenly looks dominant. Europe looks like it is hanging from the bottom. The whole planet feels wrong. But nothing about the geography changed. That discomfort is learned. On Earth, up usually means away from gravity, and down means toward the planet's center. But two people standing on opposite sides of the globe can both point down, and they are pointing in opposite directions. In space, there is no universal up. There is only up compared with something else. So, north up was never a law of nature. It was a choice. And other people made other choices. Many medieval Christian world maps put east at the top because east was loaded with meaning. It was sunrise, Eden, paradise, the direction of sacred beginnings. That is one reason the word orientation still carries the echo of the east from Latin words connected to the rising sun. The Hereford Mappa Mundi, made around the late 13th century, places Jerusalem near the center and Eden near the top. Not because its maker was simply bad at geography. That map was not trying to be a modern road atlas. It was trying to explain the meaning of the world. Then there were Arabic and Islamic mapping traditions that often placed south at the top. The famous 12th century work associated with al-Idrisi, made for King Roger II of Sicily and completed around 1154, looks upside down to modern eyes. Africa sits above Europe. North is below. And yet it was one of the most sophisticated geographic projects of its age. So if east could be up and south could be up, how did north win? If you collect weird little cracks in reality like this one, file this map in the collection with a like. And if you enjoy the hidden logic behind everyday absurdities, subscribe, then leave a comment with the next, "Why is it like this?" you want explained. Because the strangest turn in this story is that north probably did not win for the reason most people think. The popular answer is the compass. Compasses point north, so maps put north at the top. Simple. Except the timeline refuses to cooperate. The big north-up influence in Western mapmaking reaches back to Claudius Ptolemy, working in Alexandria in the 2nd century. His geography explained how to map the known world with latitude and longitude. The maps later made from his system and the instructions behind them treated north as up. That was many centuries before the magnetic compass became common in Mediterranean navigation. Even worse for the compass theory, early sea charts were not always read like a poster on a wall. Portolan charts were working tools, covered with direction lines radiating across the sea. Place names curled around coastlines so sailors could use the chart from different angles. A map on a table could be turned. The paper did not need one sacred upward direction. So the compass mattered. It helped sailors. It reinforced habits. But it did not simply command north to climb to the top. The real answer is messier, which means it is better. Ptolemy's system had something powerful, a grid. Latitude ran east and west. Longitude ran north and south. Places could be located by numbers, not only by stories, landmarks, or sacred meaning. And his known inhabited world was much wider than it was tall, stretching from the Atlantic across toward Asia. Put north at the top, and the world spreads neatly across a page. Then Ptolemy's geography faded in much of Western Europe, while other map traditions kept doing their own thing. But around the Renaissance, it came roaring back. A Greek copy reached Florence in 1397. A Latin translation was completed in the early 1400s. Printed editions with maps followed later in the 1400s, just as Europe was becoming obsessed with navigation, trade, empire, and printing the same image again and again. That timing mattered. A convention that may once have been one scholarly habit suddenly got copied, taught, printed, sold, corrected, and copied again. North up became attached to the prestige of mathematical mapping. Then Gerardus Mercator entered the story. In 1569, he made a world map built for navigation. Its magic trick was that a constant compass bearing, called a rhumb line, could be drawn as a straight line. For sailors, that was incredibly useful. Mercator did not invent north up, but his projection became one of the most influential map designs in history. And because European maritime powers were printing, shipping, colonizing, surveying, and standardizing so much of the modern map world, their habits traveled with them. North did not rise to the top because it was naturally superior. It rose because a chain of practical choices hardened into tradition. Greek mathematical geography made north up useful. Renaissance scholars revived it. Printing multiplied it. Navigation rewarded consistency. Empire spread it. Schools taught it to children until it stopped looking like a convention and started looking like reality. That is the twist. North up feels obvious now because it won. Not because the universe voted for it. You can still flip the world map over, and in one important sense it remains just as true. The continents do not care. The oceans do not care. Gravity does not care. Only our habits object. And those habits are powerful. Put north at the top long enough, and up north starts to sound like geography instead of metaphor. Down south starts to feel natural. A page layout becomes a world view. That is what maps do. They do not just show the world. They teach us how to imagine it. So the next time you see north sitting confidently at the top of a map, remember, it is not the top of Earth. It is the top of a page. And nothing makes sense until you turn it around.